Hello, my friend, and welcome to the Goddess Complex, the podcast where we talk all things spirituality, occult, and witchy. I'm Ashley Michelle, your spiritual awakening doula, shadow work practitioner, and awakener. I am so honored to be here to help you on your spiritual journey as you're putting all the pieces together. I'm a mystic living in upstate New York, and it is my sole mission to bring you all the tea. Join me and some fantastic guests as we talk about starseed, ascension codes, tarot, the Akash, and more. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad to have you, and I'll be seeing you in the show. Hello, my loves. Welcome back to the Goddess Complex. I'm Ashley Michelle, your host, and this is time number 2, my babes. I got 3/4 of the way through this episode when I realized that I wasn't recording. Gotta love it. Gotta love it, right? But we're here. I took a beat. I took a day because clearly what was coming through wasn't what needed to be said. And so now we're here and we're doing it again and we're doing it clearly. And now what needs to be said is going to be said, right? How are we? If you can, if you're able, I would love for you to put both hands on your heart with me and just kind of close your eyes and just breathe. Really centering into the room. I have a very beautiful topic for you today. One that I believe is needed. You know, the consensus has been that this eclipse season and Scorpio season has, to be frank, just kicking our ass is inside of my own personal relationships, inside of my client portals, inside of my own mentorship portals, inside of social media, everywhere I look. The same feedback I'm getting is that it's been a particularly heavy season for lots of us. And I'm here to remind you a few things. Eclipses in general have a way of bringing up and out the deeper, darker shit. They have a way of bringing up this deeper, darker shit, not to harm us, not to hurt us, but to allow us space, a safe space, if you will, for transmutation. You may hear my printer in the background. I'm sorry. I'm trying to figure out what's going on with her. If you've been following me for a while, you know, technology and we're not really a thing. But anyways, so allowing for a safe space for us to move through transmutation of the deeper, darker shit. And our Scorpio bays, this scorpionic energy loves to go deep, loves to be introspective. And my take on why is because the Scorpion loves power. The Scorpion loves authority. And how can you be in your fullest pocket of power if you're still struggling with your demons? Right? If you're still struggling with your shadow, if you're still struggling with the shit that's holding you back, how can you be in your prime? How? So this energy is in actuality doing us a favor if we use it correctly. Now, with that being said, I wanted to give us some space, some time, with the little bit of time that I have you today to get out of our human. What do I mean by that? I mean, we're going over the 12 universal laws. Am I the only one that's like getting excited about this? I'm really excited. So we all hear about the 12 universal laws, and I'm sure we can spit off a couple if we're really, really into this stuff, maybe 7 or 8. But when's the last time you've sat down and really gone over all 12 and not just the names of them, but what they actually mean? And I felt like we deserved this gift to ourselves. We deserve to give this gift to ourselves, because I don't want us to get so caught up in the human existence during this eclipse season. What I mean is, I'm doing everything wrong. I suck. I have to dig into my shadow. Heal, heal, heal. Like, you know, it goes back to the message, Monday morning's message, which was so goddamn clear, that on the spiritual path, on this spiritual journey, it is a lot about healing. It is a ton about soul cleansing. It is a lot about facing all parts of ourselves in the mirror and being fully honest and naked, not just with ourselves, but with the people that we love. And if we work in this field with fucking strangers on the internet, right? It's about pure vulnerability and acceptance at its core. And the reading this past Monday, if you didn't listen to it, go check it out. It's very, very much about just sitting the fuck down and taking a beat from all the healing and remembering that although we are spiritual folks, multidimensional beings having a human existence, we still are having a very human existence. And so it's okay to do very human things, like just sit on the couch and watch Love is Blind or Bling Empire or Manifest or The Challenge. Are you picking up on my favorite shows? If you haven't checked any of those out, you should. You should. But yeah, so anyways, I'm already tangenting and we have to get through 12 universal laws. So let's just dig into it. Enjoy this episode wherever you're at, wherever you're listening. Make sure you share the podcast, my loves, my babes. We're not going to be doing commercials ever. So this is how we get the word out. And if you loved this content, leave me a love note. I love getting them. And if you hate this content, leave me a love note. And if you want more or something else, I'm always looking on ways to improve the pod and to expand the reach of the pod and to really dig into the tea that we want to know. Because I guarantee if you've been questioning something or wanting to go deeper on something, I have too. And it got lost somewhere in the ether. So DM me on the gram, StarSeedShadows, or on the ticky tock at StarSeedShadows, or you can send me an email at starseedshadows@gmail.com. Okay, the very first law, the law of divine oneness. You know, it feels like this is, well, duh, Ash, of course we're all one. But no, babe, we are all one. I think that we say it so much. Like, can you just rattle off all like the Disney songs that talk about this? I mean, come on. I feel like it loses its meaning a little bit. And so I want you to remember, as we are closing out eclipse season, by the time you're listening to this, it's done for right now, at least. We truly are all one. Our thoughts and our behaviors, they impact the whole. Energy is so contagious. Energy is so contagious. I know when I was on my path of discovering what a deep empath I am, one of the ways I figured that out, and this is a fun fact that a lot of people don't know, empaths can affect the emotions of others. It's not all about us taking on others' emotions. We are actually very, very good at affecting the emotions of folks in a room. And that was how I figured out I was an empath. So long story short, it was freaking me out. It's freaking me out. I'm like, I come into a room in like one mood, whether it's like a shit mood, a positive mood, whatever, frustrated, happy, energetic, whatever it is. And it's just like, bzzz, like people aren't even speaking to me. The oddest thing. Anyways, I'm tangenting. I say this because energy is truly, truly contagious. And it is contagious because we are all one. This is why it's so important, my babe, my love, my friend, my mirror, that we are very, very aware of the company that we keep. I've said this before. I'm sure you've heard others say this. We need to be very, very aware of who we have around us and the sort of energy that they bring to the table and how you feel when you're around those folks. And I know this is a journey for so many of us, right? Figuring this out and all of that. And we all have different circumstances, but I do want this to be something that you are at least thinking about and something that you know is very important on your spiritual journey. Speaking of mirrors, this is why I say we're all mirrors. We're mirrors of each other because we are all one. And so me showing up for myself the best way that I can, as often as I can, is quite literally giving you permission to do the same. And you doing that is quite literally giving the next person permission to do the same. Age of Aquarius, whole nother podcast episode. But really quickly, I feel like as we're moving into the age of Aquarius, this first law, the law of divine oneness, is going to become more and more and more and more apparent. It already is. Look at the movements that we've created. Look at the movements that we're creating. Yeah, we've had some pushback. Okay. We have the biggest Black Lives Matter movement in history, only to be followed a couple years later by the overturn of Roe versus Wade. What the fuck? Like, there's going to be some pushback as we move into this new earth experience, my loves. It's not going to be all rainbows and butterflies. There's going to be some pushback. But as long as we stand in our sovereignty and we keep pushing forward, it only takes one, because the one affects the village. You get what I'm saying? Okay. Law number 2 is the law of vibration. It's a vibe. Good vibes only. This law makes me think of the Akashic records, because the records state, I'm an Akashic record reader, the records state that everything has a story, has a blueprint, everything, even like physical man-made things. There's a blueprint. They have a record, and vibration works the same way. Everything has a vibration, including solids, liquids, and gases. And we are vibration. We are quite literally energy. We are energy. And again, I feel like this is a phrase, a saying, a statement that gets used so much that it kind of loses its meaning. Your energy, babe. Your energy. And again, this is why I was saying I wanted to take this time to kind of get out of our human for a second and remember how fucking cosmic we truly are. These laws are here to help. So anyways, when you feel like you get a bad vibe, or when you feel like you get a good vibe off this project endeavor, this move, this relationship, whatever it is, that's the law of vibration at work, right? People can also throw our vibe off. But one thing that is important is that we control the reaction. And we'll talk more about that later, so put a pin in that. But again, that is why it's so important to remember the company that you keep. Why would you want to continue to put yourself around somebody who is constantly throwing your vibe off? Just some food for thought, especially when we are all feeling so sensitive right now, right? The third law is a law that so many of us are familiar with. It's responsible for the secret, darling. You know where I'm going. You know what I'm talking about. The law of attraction. For those of you who don't know The Secret, you might still even be able to get it on Netflix. It's, what do you call it? Like a documentary movie? I don't know. It's cool. It's good to watch. It's good to watch. And then there's also a book called The Secret, and The Secret is based off the law of attraction. I could talk all day about the law of attraction, but for time's sake, let's start here. the reason why so many people feel like the law of attraction isn't working is because it's not just about the law of attraction. So the law of attraction basically states that like attracts like, right? The issue with The Secret is The Secret made it seem like just think it and it will be. I want $10,000 and it will be. Just keep focusing on getting $10,000 and eventually I'll get a check. You know, we are earth beings. Whether we identify as starseed, as witchling, as earth angel, doesn't fucking matter. We're in human bodies, babe. And because of that, our human bodies, our human minds have specific parameters and blockages, to be honest with you. My point being is we have to do a bit more to manifest than to just continue. I'm getting $10,000, right? So the law of attraction is the most familiar, I would say, out of all 12 of these laws. There might be another one in here that's a close second, but I feel like this one is the most familiar and it gets a lot of attention. This one is referenced a lot in a lot of new age stuff all the time. So it says that vibrations with the same frequency are drawn to each other. Hence, like attracts like. High frequency thoughts attract more high frequency thoughts. Low frequency thoughts attract more low frequency thoughts. So one of the main reasons why it isn't working for you as well is because you aren't a match to the frequency of that which you desire. Now, pause, hold on, take a beat. You're not doing anything wrong. You're not wrong. You're not bad. You're not doing it incorrect. It just means that we may need to do a little bit more. It makes me think of one of the Disney movies, Disney references today, of the broom sweeping itself. I think it was in Snow White. We got to just do a bit more shadow work, babe. You know, we can desire abundance, which, by the way, abundance is your birthright. Abundance is my birthright. Abundance is our birthright. You have every right to be rich. You have every right to have everything you want, desire, deserve, and more. You have every right to have a banking account that's overfilled. You have every right to have designer clothing if that's what you want. You do. So if that makes you uncomfortable, that's my point. If everything I just said, if anything I just said made you like a little squeamish, like, oh shit, that's my point. There needs to be a bit more shadow work to be done for you to align with the frequency of that which you desire and deserve. The law of attraction, it is about embodiment. Okay. It's not about just want. It's not simply about desire. And this law it's also about the combination of all the laws, right? So far, we've gone over the law of oneness. This is about understanding and knowing, believing, and showing that we are all one, right? So what you do unto yourself, you're doing to the other. And what you do to the other, you're doing unto oneself. Very important to remember. Everything has a vibration, absolutely everything. And we always want to move towards those vibrations that tickle us, that make us feel all good and shit. And then we hit the law of attraction. Now, this is about embodying those vibrations that make us feel all good and shit. Do you see what I'm saying? The law of correspondence is the fourth law, the fourth universal law. This was great review for me, by the way. The law of correspondence says, as above, so below. As above, so below. Okay. So have you ever heard of the saying? A cluttered house is a cluttered mind. Or I can't cook in a dirty kitchen, any of that stuff. So this law basically states you don't attract what you want, you attract what you are. It's really stating that if you are noticing that your outer world is not matching up with what you desire, with what you think you should have, let's check on what's going on inside. Okay. So let's use a fantastical example. Let's use I'm supposed to be driving a Ferrari. I go out to go to the grocery store, which is what I'm about to do after this podcast episode. Go to the grocery store. I'm like, wait, where's my Ferrari? What? And then instead I'm in like a 92, I don't know, Hyundai I'm not good with cars, my loves. I'm so sorry. I drive a CRV. But anyways, which I manifested. But anyways, I'm tangenting. My point being is I feel like I should be in this Ferrari, but instead I'm getting this beater. There we go. I'm getting a full-on beater. One of these things is not like the other. Something's not matching up. The law of correspondence is saying, babe, you got to go inside. You need to look inside and really see what's going on there. Because if you think you should be in a Ferrari, but you're driving a beater, I think that's a you problem. That's really what the law of correspondence is saying. It's a you problem, babe, not an outside problem, not your roommate's problem, not your partner's problem, not the bills problem or the rent man's problem. It's a you problem. It's a you problem. And when you put it like that, it sounds harsh, but sometimes we need tough love. Yes or no? Yes or no, honey. Sometimes we need some tough love. And so I really want to take a minute too with this law. And this is a message for my empaths, okay? My empaths, my empathic babes, my soft sweethearts, my sensitive souls. Be careful with this law. And the reason why I'm saying that, if you are spending a lot of time with folks whose outside world is not matching what they feel like they should be or where they feel like they should be, or their outside world is clearly in distress, it's clearly chaotic, it's clearly re-traumatizing them over and over again. And you are spending a lot of time with this energy. This energy is projecting their shit onto you. You then internalize it, empath, and guess what? You project it onto yourself and onto your world and onto your environment. That's why, my babes, I continue to harp on the fact it is so important. Let me tell you, my loves, you get the vibe that I'm fun. Okay. I'm a Sag sun. Okay. Jupiter's on my ascendant. I like to have a good time. When I went through a specific level of my spiritual awakening, I was called to disconnect with a lot of folks I spent a lot of time with. I was really called to disconnect with specific energy, not because they were wrong, not because they were bad, but because being as sensitive as I was, it just was where I am going. And at the time where I was going, which is where I am now, there was no space for that extra noise. And that's okay. And, I've talked about this before, ascending, spiritual awakening, spiritual work can often be lonely because we are very much separated from the everyday nonsense of the world. We're over that, and so with that being said, my empaths who are still hanging on to relationships, what I just described, if it's happening to you. That's what I'm going to say. If you're spending a lot of energy, a lot of time with some toxic and chaotic energy, if they're projecting onto you and then you are spewing that back out into your environment and it's causing you to be in a negative feedback loop, stop it. That's what I'm going to say. I know it's easier said than done, but that's what I'm going to say, my loves. And if you all want me to do like another episode on just empaths and empath work and my story around being an empath and how I deal with it now, I totally will. It's become one of my favorite qualities about me. And it used to be one of my most hated. So there's that. Anywho. Okay, so 5. One of my favorite laws, the law of action. Get your ass on up, honey. Love it. You guys hear when Kim K got all that blowback because she said something like, what did she say? She said something like, here's my advice for all women who like want to work or be entrepreneurs, like get your ass up and work. She got hella slack for that. Number one, I don't care if you're offended by this. I love the Kardashians. I think they have built an empire And I think a lot of people, especially entrepreneurs, can learn a lot from them. And I think their work ethic and drive is like no other. End rant. My point being, 5, the law of action. This law simply states to get results, you have to move. That's what it means. It goes back to the law of attraction, right? The law of attraction is like, like attracts like. So it's like, okay, I want to manifest $10,000. What am I going to do to manifest $10,000? Am I going to ask for a raise at my job? And by when, by the way, very important. Do I need it within 30 days? Do I need it within a year? Do I need it within 6 months? What's the time frame? So, okay, we have the time frame. Now, am I going to ask for a raise at my job? Am I going to get another job? Am I going to, if I work for myself, am I going to launch a product? Am I going to launch a product at a low ticket offer for lots to buy, or a higher ticket offer for a smaller amount of people to buy? And then how am I going to do the launch? Am I going to count my pennies? Have I been saving change for a long time? And now it's time to, like, $10,000 you've been saving since you were born. But you know what I mean? You know where I'm getting at, right? The law of action is literally stating that we have to move to make it happen. That's what it is. I didn't even mean to rhyme, and I love how that worked for us. Everything always works out for me. There's a misconception that things will come if you think hard enough. You are the manifestation. You have always been the manifestation. I can't say that enough. I can't. And that's a great mantra. If you're into mantra or affirmation work, I am the manifestation. Just like a little bit of EFT tapping, a little bit of tea, some meditation, and you're just like tapping on your cheekbones. I am the manifestation. Oh my God, that feels good. If you're able to, you should just do it right now, because I'm doing it. I'm taking, I think it's my pointer and my index fingers, and just doing light tapping right underneath my eyes, right on my cheekbones. I am the manifestation. I am the manifestation. I am the manifestation. I mean, come on, don't you feel it? Don't you feel that electricity? My God. Hey, babe, I hope that you're enjoying the show. So, I have something for you. As a thank you from me to you, I've given you my shadow work meditation. I know so many of you want to do more shadow work, want to understand it, want to learn your shadow, and desire deeply to integrate your shadow self. This meditation is for you, free of cost, as a thank you from me to you. You can download it in the show notes and enjoy. So that's a great practice that you can do in general if you are noticing or feeling resistance to that mantra or affirmation, because it's true. And so if you don't believe that in your bones, you're always going to have a hard time with the law of attraction, with manifestation, with limiting beliefs, right? All of that. Okay. You truly can have whatever it is you want. You truly can have whatever it is you desire. Whatever you desire is yours. And so many people, so many folks feel so much resistance towards that because we've been conditioned for so long that that's not true. We're a product of our environment. What we have is based upon our socioeconomic status. What we have is based on how much we make per year. What we have is based on our skin color. What we have is based on how pretty we are. What we have is based on how big our dick is. What we have is based on who our dad is. All of these limiting beliefs, none of it's true, babe. They're the biggest lies ever told. None of it's true. It's bullshit. Anyways, the law of action. This is about taking inspired action. And so I want to end this law with this. Taking inspired action means that you are taking action towards the things that you care about. And in my work, I see the biggest ego loops and the most limiting beliefs around this law. And that's why I spent some time on it. And it's because of what I was just saying. Not your fault. We're a product of the earth matrix. It is on us, though, to continue on this path of remembering who the fuck we are and remembering our sovereignty and remembering that we are all mirrors of one another. So as we take steps to create the tiny little universe that we want for ourselves, right? The tiny universe that I would like for myself here in Rochester, New York, that is having a bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger effect on the world around. Because there's a whole bunch of us light workers, and you too are a light worker. You wouldn't be here listening to this podcast if that weren't the case. There's all of us light workers creating these tiny universes of the world that we desire for ourselves. And then these bubbles intersect and intertwine and connect and get bigger, and they conjoin and all of that. And that, my love, my friend, is this new earth idea that we continue to hear about. Okay. Law number 6. So this might be, I don't know which one. Okay. This is the law of cause and effect. Let's start there. And what I was saying was, I don't know which one is more popular, the law of attraction or the law of cause and effect. I feel like the law of cause and effect actually might be, because we learn it in school, for every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction, right? It's karma. It's karma. That's what it is. Your intentions and your actions influence the future. Just like I say with the tarot, no card is an island, no thought is an island, no action is an island. One thing that we must remember, and this will come up again, is like, it's not linear. It's another big lie that we've been told. It's not linear, meaning life isn't linear, time isn't linear, this experience isn't linear. It's all circular. It's all in patterns. It's all cyclical. Okay. And so we have the tendency to think in singularities about our thoughts and actions, like one is independent of another. There we go. I hope that makes more sense. With that being said, nothing that we think or do is in isolation. It's think collectively, right? It's, in my opinion, this is the biggest thing that we have forgotten. When we incarnate here, we go through a phase of forgetting, and then we go through a phase of remembering. And this phase of remembering is often called our spiritual awakening. I'm a firm believer that we have more than one spiritual awakening, and we have more than one phase of remembering. Firm believer, because I've lived it. With that being said, collective think. Oh my God, I'm getting all these downloads right now. Whenever this happens, it's like, this was not a part of the plan. I use the word collective think, and channeled message coming through right now is that that's what's happening right now, but it's happening like all the way left. This collective think idea, the wrong parties, I don't even want to use the word wrong. Certain parties have used the collective think idea here on earth to implement will that isn't necessarily the mission, for lack of a better word, that isn't necessarily the purpose, for lack of a better word. So now we're in this phase, ever since Neptune entering Pisces, of this collective think being swayed. That I wish I could get you all inside of my mind when I channel the images that come in. I'm seeing one of those clock things. It's like, I can't explain it. I'm sorry. I wish I could, but it's going back and forth. It's like boop, 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 almost kind of like a seesaw. And so what's happening is this whole collective think, or what has been happening historically, is that this collective think idea has been moving one way. Hence why, for example, aliens, for eons, nobody believed in aliens. A lot of people still don't believe in aliens. And isn't that the most silliest thing you've ever heard in your entire fucking life? Like, really, though? Really? The universe, as far as we know it, is exponential. There are planets, Earth-like planets, being discovered by the millions. I'm urged to say billions. I'm urged to say billions on a regular basis is the point. And you mean to tell me, sir, that we are the only conscious living beings out there? You arrogant asshole. Where did we get this idea from that aliens didn't exist? Collective think. That's my point. Let me get off my soapbox. I'm getting tangented. Anyways, the law of cause and effect. Going back to what I was saying, nothing is an island. Your intentions and your actions influence the future. That being said, you want love, you give love. You want money, you give generously. You want health, you eat healthy. It's actually really quite simple, but I believe this is another law which we can easily get caught up in our thought loops, our ego loops, our thought bubbles, what creates safety. This law to me, it screams the individualistic mindset, not the law itself, but for example, you want money, you give generously. We are taught, especially over here in America, that you worry about you. You worry about you. You worry about your family. You don't worry about anybody else. You worry about you. Where has that gotten us? I'm going to end that there. Okay. Law number 7. This is where I got, by the way, when I realized I wasn't recording last time. And I can tell you, my friend, this recording is way better than the first one. So there's always something. Law number 7 is the law of compensation, which I found to be an interesting one. I totally forgot this was even a thing, to be honest with you. So when I was reading up on this law, essentially it's an extension of the law of cause and effect. Essentially, our blessings from source, universe, higher self, God, whatever you want to call it, they, us, are based upon the good we do in the world and the value that we bring, right? And with this law, it's important to remember that compensation isn't just about money. Okay, this could be good health. This could be that baby that you've been trying for a long time. This could be that promotion that you felt you deserved, an opportunity that falls into your lap. This is simply about being a good person, being a bro, being a solid motherfucker. That's what this is about, right? The author of one of the articles I read, and I'll link some of these articles below, by the way, if you want to go deeper on any of this stuff. The author said, so often we give to others what we think they deserve. Now that hit, boo. That hit. Because, again, eye for an eye, right? Like, you burn me, I burn you back, right? But like, what if we did something different? And I know it sounds kitschy and corny and cliche, but what if we took the high road? It takes a lot of skill, power, and wisdom to wish peace upon those that have really fucking hurt you, that have like really like fucked you up, that have traumatized you, that have hurt you to your core. It does. And we all have had those experiences. Some of us more than others. We've all still had them. And, you know, a lot of us choose violence. We choose being the petty bitch. And, you know, I'm going to tell you right now on this podcast, baby, I get you. I get that. We are humans. We are spiritual folks having a human existence. So choosing pettiness is not that far out of the realm of possibilities, right? But I'll tell you, the law of compensation states that we get our blessings from the good that we do in the world and the value that we provide. So maybe instead of giving to others what we think they deserve, maybe we just give love all the time. And again, as I was saying before, we all have very different circumstances. So that may be hard, but it's food for thought. It's food for thought. 8. Okay, 8. The law of perpetual transmutation of energy. What? The law of perpetual transmutation of energy. So when I first read this law, the first thing I thought of was this tattoo I have on the inside of my arm, and this too shall pass. And I'll tell you why in a second. Essentially, this law says energy is always in motion and changing. Essentially, when life gives you lemons, you make lemonade. This goes back to us being the magician. Energy is always in motion. So I got "and this too shall pass" on the inside of my arm to remind myself, when you're in a hard spot, when I'm in a hard spot, when things are feeling really sticky, icky, and this too shall pass, because energy is always in motion. So this, my friend, is just a moment, right? And it's our job to remember that the fact that we are the magician, number one, and we have the power to transmute the energy. So it's on us to activate thoughts that serve us and deactivate those that don't. Again, easier said than done, right? I'm not saying that this is something that we can implement tomorrow, but I'm saying small little changes really go a long way, especially if you're somebody that leans heavier into the lower vibrational thoughts. And again, nothing is wrong with that, okay? Right and wrong are constructs. And I actually talk about this later. I say that all the time. Come to find out, it's one of the universal laws. Right and wrong are constructs. They're not real. So I don't want you to feel when I'm saying, if you lean into lower vibrational thought, that something is wrong with you. That's not true. It just means that we got to push you the other way, babe. That's what it means. And also too, little plug, it takes a village. Get you a mentor, boo. Get you a mentor. If you love my stuff, if you love my free stuff, can you imagine working with me in a private container? Like, it takes a village. Like, I have a therapist, I have a couples therapist, I have a business mentor, I have a personal mentor. Like, we're not supposed to be doing this alone. That's my point with all of this, to get out of your human. We're not supposed to be doing any of this work alone. And I really, really, really want you to know that. So going back to the 8th law, when things go wrong, we can only have a pity party for so long. And that really hit for me, right? Especially with all of this scorpionic energy coming in, this dark energy coming in, and some of the feelings and emotions that are coming up for so many of us as a collective. It can get really easy to kind of sink into it, right? I'm a pretty bubbly person. I cry. I get depressed. I get upset. I get frustrated. I get emo. Okay, nobody's immune. But we can only do that for so long. And then we have to ask ourselves the question, like, how is this actually serving me? How is this actually serving me? And has it already served me? Have I gotten the emo feelings out? Because that can serve you in a way as well. And now are we just like stretching it? You know what I mean? Like, just wanting to sit in the pocket of pissiness. The pocket of pissiness, right? And so with this law, what I want you to remember is it's okay to acknowledge the raw emotions, but also acknowledge your power in transmuting those raw emotions. And again, it takes a second. It's not going to happen immediately. It's not going to be like, oh my God, I'm healed. I'm cured. I'm amazing. I'm fine today. Like, that's not how it works. It's more so like, okay, it's over time. Over time. One of my mentors actually said to me one day, I thought this was so profound. She goes, there is an intellect in gradual growth. I loved it. Loved it. There is an intellect in gradual growth. We want things and we want them now, but the whole point of this soul journey, of this ascension journey, of this earth matrix journey, of understanding what is the great beyond and how do you fit in it, all of it, is by taking our fucking time with all of it. Understanding how our brain works and understanding how our brain works in conjunction with the heart and understanding how our brain works in conjunction with the heart, in conjunction with the soul, and understanding what feels good for us and understanding what doesn't feel good for us and understanding what types of people we attract and what types of people do we want to attract. What sort of life are we living versus the sort of life that we deserve and desire to live? And what might be blocking us? Or like, how can we continue to live our best lives? What habits and what sorts of things have we been implementing to keep this same energy? Right? There is an intellect in gradual growth. Law number 9, the law of relativity. So this is another familiar one, but like, do we even really know what it means? I'm not going to lie. Like, you all know, like, I'm a trained biologist. I should know. A bitch forgot. And so like, when this law came up, I was like, think about it. What is it? Right. It's okay. And so the law of relativity, so I'm looking at my notes right now. This is going back to why I say there's no such thing as good and bad. It's all about perception. So I always say that because, okay, one of the articles I wrote gave an amazing example. You wake up and you notice that it's way brighter outside than it's supposed to be for the time you're supposed to wake up, only for you to realize that your iPhone was not plugged in at all like you thought it was, and the alarm never went off. So you get up, you're late for work, you're like, holy fuck, let me get there. You go to get your coffee is wrong. They give you some like mocha shit when you really wanted to frap, whatever. Then you get out to your car, you rush to work, you get a speeding ticket on the way, and you're like, holy fuck this day, right? But as you're leaving the coffee shop, the homeless person that sits there all the time would give anything to trade places with you. They wish they had a car to speed to work in, or even had the coin to get a mocha or frappuccino or whatever it is you're getting, right? It's all about perception, right? Our experiences are neutral. Oh my God, so important to remember. Our experiences are neutral. There is no such thing as good and bad. It's our perception of them that gives them the meaning. Perception being the emotion in the experience, the thought in the experience, and the judgment of the experience, right? A good or bad experience is not necessarily the truth. It's our perception based on our comparison of other experiences that we've had in life. Boom, baby. What the fuck? Mind blown, right? It's true, though. It's true. Like, what else do we have to compare things to but our own experiences? So we base all of our current experiences off of our past experiences. And with all of that information, we rate them as good or bad. But in reality, it's just neutral. It's making me think of like physics and like time being an illusion, and we create our own reality because we create our own reality. This is the law of relativity. We create it. So this is essentially just saying the next time you feel like shit's going to shit, take a beat, boo. It's not going to shit. You're going to be fine. We're all going to be fine. It's all going to be okay. And maybe, just maybe, we take a second to have a different perception. And again, we all have different experiences, right? And I want to be aware, okay, of what I'm saying. And I want to be aware, and I want you to know that I'm aware that there's lots of different experiences going on, okay? Sometimes it's a bit bigger than your alarm going off or not going off, okay? But I want you to know we are the magicians. And so we can create a new experience that is in more alignment with what we choose to call good. There we go. Thank you, Spirit, for the words. Law number 10, the law of polarity. Love talking about this law. I talk a lot about polarity in my work because we are in an experience of polarity. We decided when we chose to have an Earth experience to incarnate here on Earth that we were going to work with polarities, hot and cold, up and down, big and small, love and hate, all of that. Our Earth experience is one of polarity. We cannot know one without the other. And so this law reminds us to be very, very grateful for the shit moments so that we can appreciate the good moments, to, be appreciative for death and loss so that we can appreciate life and living in health, right? And that's important to remember, especially if we have Debbie Downer tendencies or everything always goes wrong sort of tendencies. This one of the laws I'm about to talk about next talks about that cyclical pattern I was talking about again. When not everything is going to be rainbows and butterflies. That's not this type of rodeo, babe. No matter how ascended we get, not everything is going to be rainbows and butterflies. And so it's so important when we are in low moments, even though it may be really fucking hard, right? It may be really fucking hard. And we may feel resentful and irritated even and frustrated that I'm even saying what I'm saying. But we have to find it'd be good to, we can try to find an appreciation there so that when the good does come, and the good will come because the good always comes, remember, and this too shall pass, the good will come. We appreciate the good that much more. This is a world of polarity. Remember that, especially if you're going through a particularly hard time right now, or it feels like a really long, hard time, like a string of hard times. Remember, like attracts like. I always think of Abraham Hicks. I said this earlier. I quoted it inside the podcast. Everything always works out for me. Everything always works out for you. 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 Law 11. We're getting there, babes. We're getting there. The law of rhythm. So the law of rhythm reminds me of the Wheel of Fortune card in the tarot, okay? Energy is always in motion, a lot like what we were talking about. Everything is cyclical, not linear. Time is an illusion. So important to remember. Everything's circular. Everything is circular. Nothing is linear, okay? Get that imprinted in your head. We are very much a people of instant gratification. I want it and I want it now, but everything has its time. My partner always tells me that, and I get irritated when he tells me that. Look at him being all woke and shit. Everything does always have its time, and patience is very much a virtue. And patience is the underlying message of the law of rhythm. It's just really important to remember, again, especially if we're going through a particularly hard time or trying time, everything always has its place and its moment. And it's a wheel. It's a wheel. What comes around goes around. Okay. The last law, the law of gender. So the law of gender simply states that we all have yin and yang, both masculine and feminine energy. Important to note, this has nothing to do with our sexuality or our sex. This has to do with energy. Speaking purely in energetics, this is what's required for creation in general. Think of the Lover's card in tarot. It's fitting as we're almost done with a Lover's year. When masculine energy is doing a good job, it's practical, it's logical, it's a visionary, it's structured, it's great. When it is out of balance, out of whack, it can be eccentric, erratic, controlling, aggressive, domineering. When feminine energy is doing a good job, it's intellectual, it's nurturing, it's intuitive, it's soft, right? When it is out of whack, it's vulnerable, it's passive, it can be considered weak, and all of that. When both of these energies are in pure balance with one another within the self, when they are harmonious within the self, This law states that we are showing up as the best version of self. Do I believe that such a balance exists? Not in this specific version of Earth. We are always moving the needle when it comes to the version of Earth, right? So like literally like tomorrow, it's going to be a different version. That's my point. By the time you're hearing this, it's going to be a different version. We need more of us to wake up, and we need more of us to continue to do this soul work, right? I think the battle between divine masculine and divine feminine is a constant battle in all of us and most of us, because there's always someone, something, or some situation pulling at us to be more logical and intense, or more soft and nurturing. And we've created such a divide between masculine and feminine energies inside of Earth that when we try to work with these energies inside of the soul, it can be a little hard and trying, if that makes sense. I do believe we can get there. And I do believe when they are in pure balance within the self, we are showing up as the best versions of us. I believe that practice makes perfect, right? Awesome. Yeah, babes. I knew we were going to go a little over, but we didn't do too bad. This was needed. I hope that you enjoyed this. I really, really enjoyed doing this episode. I enjoyed doing this research, and I enjoyed doing this review for my own spiritual growth and practice. And so I hope you got some tea out of this today. I hope you've been enjoying the guests that I've been having on. It has been a blast. I didn't even know, but I was a good interviewer. I had no clue. I love it. Probably because I'm really nosy. It's the truth. Another fun fact about me, I love to know people's tea. Probably why I'm a shadow worker. I got so many people's secrets. They're safe with me, babes. Don't you worry. But yeah, we have more guests coming up. We have a beautiful guest coming up for December to end our calendar new year. And then we are off into Year of the Chariot, baby. 2022. What the fuck? It just flew by. Okay, my loves. Love ya. Talk to you soon. Mwah. Hey, babe. Before you go, did you love the show? In fact, did you hate the show? Either way, I want to know. Be sure to leave me that 5-star review. Your reviews help us get the word out of my work. And not only that, it lets me know how I'm doing. What did you love? What did you hate? Let me know. Send me a love note, or you can do it right on Apple Podcasts or on Spotify. I look forward to hearing from you. And remember, if you're ready to work with me deeper, I offer one-on-one services. I also have an academy called the Lightworkers Academy, which is a group of folks who are going through a spiritual awakening at the same time and want some company. I also offer spiritual development coaching and spiritual business coaching. All the links are in the show notes. I'll see you next time. And again, thank you for listening.